For 2 decades, I've served as captain of the Defiant. Never before this day have I questioned the loyalty of my crew. Yet there are rumors of mutiny on the Defiant. Mutiny! My sins are many, but I've always treated my crew with respect and equity. Yet if the rumors are true, then I have failed as a leader and deserve what fate befalls me. I pray that the loyal crewmates will bring the mutineer to justice. After years of command, it's hard to admit that my fate is out of my hands. J.W. Aldridge, Captain, HMS Defiant. You are the crew of the Defiant. One of you is planning a mutiny. The mutineer's goal? To remain hidden while the others attempt to discover you. I'm Adam Buckingham, designer of Mutiny. Mutiny is a small, social game with simple rules that allows players to focus on social deduction to determine who's guilty. The rules are simple to teach, and the game uses only 16 cards to set the scene for players to figure out who they can and can't trust. Each player has a role on the ship with abilities that will help them find the mutineer, or enable them to redirect the blame elsewhere. Mutiny is for 4 to 8 players, plays in about 15 minutes. Since the game doesn't require any surface, it can be played virtually anywhere and anytime. In this video, I'll give a brief overview of how to play Mutiny. Setup and gameplay is outlined in 9 simple steps. The first step is to build the roll deck. The roll deck contains 8 roles that may be assigned to the players. These will give players a role to play in the game, as well as granting the abilities that go with that role. The roles are designed so that any combination with any number of players is a viable and fun way to play. To get started quickly, simply shuffle the roll deck and deal. However, the deck can also be arranged so that only a select group of roles will be used. If you're playing for the first time with 4 players, a recommended lineup of roles is the Quartermaster, Bosun, Navigator, and Chaplain. In most games, the Cabin Boy should be removed from the roll deck prior to dealing cards. The Cabin Boy will only be used in a game with 8 players. After building the roll deck, deal 1 roll card to each player. Any remaining roll cards can be set aside and will not be used in this game. At this time, players should reveal their roll cards to the rest of the players. A player's role and actions are public information. Let's take a closer look at a roll card. Each role has a title and 2 actions, which may be performed in the first and second round respectively. All actions are optional unless otherwise indicated. The Chaplain's first round action allows him to take a confession from another player, but may cause the Chaplain's allegiance to change. In the second round, the Chaplain can forgive 1 vote cast against another player, taking that vote onto himself. Each action happens at a specific point during a given round, indicated by the action timing after the action title. It's possible that 2 roles will have actions during the same phase of the same round. In this example here, the Navigator and Chaplain do not conflict during the first round, since their actions are performed during different phases. However, in the second round, they both have an action that they may perform after voting. When there's a conflict like this, each action has a number that gives a specific priority to each action. After roles have been assigned and revealed, we build the allegiance deck. These are the cards that will determine which player is guilty of mutiny and which players are innocent. There are 3 types of allegiance cards. First is the loyal card. This will be a majority of the cards in the deck. Players holding a loyal card are innocent of mutiny and work together to try to expose the mutineer. Next is the mutineer card. The player holding this card is guilty of mutiny and tries to maintain the secrecy of their allegiance. Finally is the sympathizer card, which is used for the sympathizer variant of the game. If a player is dealt the sympathizer card, they will win only if the mutineer wins. That means that they win if any player other than the mutineer, including the sympathizer, is voted guilty. Allegiance cards are always secret and may not be revealed unless required by an action, or if a player is voted innocent in round 1. If playing with the sympathizer, that means that the sympathizer will not know who the mutineer is. They will be trying to figure it out just like the rest of the players, only for a different reason. To start building the allegiance deck, the Mutineer card will always be included. Next, if playing with the Sympathizer, add it to the deck. Then, add enough loyal cards to the deck so the number of cards in the deck is equal to the number of players. If the Cabin Boy was dealt to a player, do not include this player in the count. Deal 1 allegiance card to each player, excluding the Cabin Boy. All players will look at their allegiance card, but must keep the face of the card secret from the rest of the players. At this point, the game is afoot. Players should pay attention to the others as they look at their allegiance cards. Sometimes a facial expression can tell you a lot about what's on another player's card. During the first round, players discuss between themselves to try to figure out who is innocent or guilty of mutiny. Everything is fair game during this discussion, short of revealing an allegiance card. Players should accuse, deny, ask questions, and discuss their observations. Pay attention to the other players. The smallest tells can often give a player away. First round actions, labeled before voting, are performed during this discussion. After players are satisfied with the discussion and any actions are performed, a vote is called. One player will be voted innocent and ruled out for the rest of the game. On a count of 3, players vote by simultaneously pointing to the player that they think is innocent. Players can never vote or be forced to vote for themselves. During voting and after voting actions will be taken at this point, and after all actions are resolved, the player with the most votes is declared innocent of mutiny. That player will reveal their allegiance card. If they are the mutineer, the game ends, and the mutineer wins. If the innocent player is loyal or sympathizer, the game continues into round 2. If the vote is tied, nobody is declared innocent. Round 2 works just like round 1. Players discuss, accuse, and deny, using information learned during the last round and the first vote. Again, any discussion is fair game, short of revealing an allegiance card. When players are ready to vote, they will hold a guilt vote. The voting works the same as the first round, with players simultaneously pointing on a count of 3. This time, players are voting to declare one player guilty of mutiny. Again, they cannot vote for themselves, and they cannot vote for the player that was declared innocent in round 1. Any actions that players wish to perform are resolved, and the final votes are tallied. The player with the most votes is declared guilty. The guilty player will reveal their allegiance card. If the guilty player is not the mutineer, then the mutineer, and any players allied with the mutineer, wins. If the mutineer is voted guilty, then all loyal players, excluding any players allied with the mutineer, win. That's an overview of how to play Mutiny. I've had a lot of fun designing, testing, and tweaking the game over the past 2 years. I hope you enjoy playing. If you have any questions about the game, please email me at adam@adambuckingham.com. Thanks for watching.